you are stuck, you have got a lot of things which is holding you. These are typically the mindset. We call it as the fixed mindset. So there are many techniques that has been used, and one of the oldest techniques, which dates back to Shakuntala's time. I don't know if you know Shakuntala. Okay, please go back to the Vedic times. You will find the stories of Shakuntala. Now, this is the technique which was used by some of the amazing people that includes Mahavir, Buddha, Vivekananda, and now Jack Canfield, Tony Robbins. They all use this technique in multiple ways, but I don't want to give a name or a different dimension to it. Let's make it very simple, very structured out there. I really don't want to give a big branding to this. So heart talk is something which you talk from the heart, as simple as that. Fine. Now here is what you have to do as an audience. So you will be able to see a speaker today on stage. Okay. So after this part of the message, you will get to know about who is the speaker, okay, and what about this person and what all things he has done. And you will know a little bit of brief, but you will be knowing the entire thing from her mouth. So it is like watching a live autobiography. Autobiography is always for people who are already dead. Yes or no? But here, you are actually watching a live autobiography, the person's life. And this is something which I call it as experiential learning. I repeat, experiential learning. So when you are a live audience, you cannot talk to him. Yeah, your videos will be muted, your audios will be muted, and your chat also will be disabled. At this point of time, you are going to just use your ears. You don't have to sit in one place. You can roam across, you can travel, you can do whatever, but make sure you are connected on the phone. This is a purely something to support the participant, support yourself. Now, what are you going to learn is something which is very, very crucial, which nobody, no MBA colleges or no institutions, no spirituality gurus also will not be able to do that. Guarantee. You know why? Because we are learning from somebody's life story live. Now, this person is going to talk from his heart or her heart for a period of time. We don't have any blocks here. And it's a free flow of thought. So when this person who is the participant here, when she or he comes on stage, he will be able to see only a screen where she will be seeing only herself or himself. So when you see yourself, it is more of just like a mirror. And when you start talking, it is like you are talking to somebody who is only you. Now, this is the best part. This is a part of this is a small part of something which is a very huge called as Dham Mastery. Dham Mastery has got 9 Navratnas. This is one of the program or structures which is called as Heart Talk. To know more about Dham Mastery, you can write to support@amitnath.in, connect to any of the accountability partners, coaches, or talk to any of the family members. They will guide you. Guys, can you help? Yes or no? Can you help everyone? Awesome. Nice. So to know about Dham Mastery, I cannot talk. This session is not for that. Dham Mastery is keep your mouth shut and learn. How do you learn? When you learn by observing, learn by deep introspecting, learn by looking at these people, learn by, look, what you are learning is somebody's life story. I always tell you this question, okay? So at any given point of time, there is a doer, correct? That means you are live. And then there is a task. So now you are listening to me, you are doing a task, which is called this task, okay? And then there is an intensity of the task. That is the third thing. What is the intensity of the task? Deep listening, deep focus. Hello, deep focus, right? So this is what is happening right now. So when you are doing this, these three you cannot separate with each other. At any given point of time, the doer is doing a task, the task has an intensity, and the task is performed under an environment. Yes or no? These 4 elements you cannot change. That is called God's rule. And the 5th element is called as the stimulus of the environment, for which every decision, everything that you have purchased or taken or decision or you have in your life or moments, this is because of the small stimulus. For example, you are going on a road, suddenly you saw a big banner, you saw Mercedes-Benz, and now it is your aspiration, I need to buy this Benz. That is how the stimulus works. So far clear? So when you look at the life of this gentleman or this person who is going to talk, these are something which are environmental stimuluses which has made him to whatever he or she is today. Is that point clear? Now, this entire journey has ups and downs, has different stimulus, different environments, different people, different network, different opportunities, different awards, achievements, naughty things, good things, happy things, sad things, quarrel things, fighting things, so many. Is there any way you can finish a book of 300 to 600 pages in sitting like this? Nowhere. This is the life story, life autobiography of this person today. So what do you need to learn from them? Number 2 is this. You are supposed to learn the deepest pain this person has gone through, what kind of corrective actions he or she has done. You don't have to judge it is right or wrong, but look at what exactly happened when they have done this kind of actions. And now the gains, the pains, and all these things. This story from the deepest pain to the untold gains. This is how this entire person has been fighting through his entire life. Today, you will also be able to see and witness that when you talk to a mirror like this for more than 10 minutes, you suddenly get to a different world. Why? Because I call it as the guru moment. That time when it transitions that you are talking to yourself. Look, according to me, there is no guru. The biggest guru is sitting inside you. Yes or no? This is the guru who is born 9 months before you were born, and it's going to die 9 months, 13 days after you are dead. That's why we celebrate the Tervi. It's not celebration, but it's a ritual. Yeah. So this is what happens is this person wakes up before you. He knows everything about what you are doing. Before even you are doing, he can take decisions for you. And if this gentleman is confused, he will stay at the same point. You cannot fight, you cannot flight, you will be frozen. So it is better to learn about this guy. So how this guy can be unleashing this power? This is only possible when you talk on a stage like this without any fear, without any judgment, without any biasness, without anyone looking at you, without any comments. And that's why this stage is specifically designed for the family of ants, Amit Nath's team, or people who are infest. This is a special area which is also a part of a dojo practice where we share all these things. We connect deeply with each other. We understand the pain, what he or she has gone through. We connect, but we don't get into the consoling. We don't get into the support part, but we get into the ownership as a brotherhood. That's why this is a family of brothers and sisters. So if you are here, you will be witnessing this change happening in front of you. You'll be able to see this metamorphosis happening from a struggling caterpillar to a flourishing butterfly, where they might be crying, they might be shouting, they might be screeching, but you will be able to see how people get out of all these things. So I hope this session is going to give you a lot of power. What you need to do is you need to write down those points which are connecting to you. What are those areas? What you could have done? What could be something that you could have handled? Okay, how is this entire story of this gentleman or this person is connected to you? Now, these are certain things which you don't have to record. You need to learn by observing. There are certain things you don't need a guru. You just need your own consent. You need your own self. You need your own brother and sister who is inside. So with that, let's start the session. Let's invite the moderator to introduce the speaker of the day. And I wish her a fantastic, powerful success. And I'm always there. Our family is there. Don't get nervous. We are there with you, and you are closer than you can imagine. I'll see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dada, for your wonderful introduction about the Hat Talk. So let's invite today's presenter. His name is Major Rajesh Ranjit. Is retired as an ex-Indian Army officer and a Kargil War veteran. He has served as a senior principal and educationist in a couple of K-12 private schools in India. He specialized in curriculum development, leadership, and school audits, psychological counseling and life coaching, green school and democratic educational advocacy. He's also a master trainer of educators and is in the panel of developing capacity building modules, workshops for CBSE with around 21 years of a rich experience in diverse roles. He is presently concentrating his efforts in setting up experiential education pedagogy and curricular in various places. Marvelous, your field of work is. So let's hear it from you in detail about the Hat Talk. Before I invite our presenter, I would like all of you to wish Major Rajesh Ranjit ji, best of luck. I wish you best of luck, Rajesh ji. Yeah. Anybody wants to wish can wish through the chat or so.
All the best, Ranjit sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you, Ganesh ji. Are you able to hear?
Yes.
Hello, Rajesh ji, all the best for your new movie, which was very old one.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll be waiting.
All the best, Major. Dada is texting you. All the best, all of
Yeah.
them.
Thank you so much, Amit ji.
Yeah. After 1 minute or 2 minutes, the audio will be muted. Yes, the stage is all yours. Yeah, you can take it.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for all the good wishes. So today I'm Major Rajesh Ranjit here in front of you, and I'm going to give you a hard talk about myself, my life journey, starting from 29th of November, 1972. That's the day I was born. I remember vaguely about my childhood days, quite happy, kind of a kid, running around and playful. And till the time I went to school, I have memories of going to a preschool where my mother used to go and drop me. And I used to love the educators, the teachers there, and the loving kind of ayahs and all those people I still remember. I had a strict father, and things started to become a bit serious for me, a bit troublesome, irritating for me when the actual education started. I remember the first day of school, I was 5 years old, and I went to an English medium school, a so-called missionary kind of a convent kind of English medium school. Luckily, it was a co-ed kind of a school, so there were girls around. So I could not separate from my parents. The first day I cried, and every day I would cry before going to school because I wanted to be at home in the safe environment and also play pranks with my mother, or just run around in the open and things like that. Because going to school was like confining myself to the benches, and and there were so many other children there, and a lot of children crying, and that is the scene I can remember very clearly. Even though I remember my first teacher. I grew up in a place called Ranchi, and even though I'm from Kerala, my father was an engineer in one of the factories there, and a beautiful kind of a setup there, because Ranchi is known to be a kind of a it is kind of a hill station and a lot of greenery around, and I grew up in a township kind of an environment, so a lot of space to play and a lot of friends, and it was a multicultural kind of an environment. Like my neighbors were from Bihar, and that whole flat had someone from Madhya Pradesh and someone from Patna and Darbhanga and Madhubani and Bengal and Tamil Nadu, and a lot of these kind of places. And then in school, again, there were a lot of people from different places of India, from Haryana and from Punjab and Karnataka, Andhra, you name it, and all of them were there. So that was one of the advantage of growing up in that kind of a place. But as I said, I was moving away from the English, so-called English education. The first year I joined, there were around, I think, 50 odd students in the class, and I was like fifth in my class or something like that. I remember that, and my father and my mother congratulating me. And after that, the whole struggle started, and I was more wanting to be playful and go and play, but my father would restrict that, and I remember the kind of struggle he had trying to teach me English and alphabets, and also multiplication tables. That was quite a kind of a struggle for me. A lot of juggling I had to do, and I was more interested in to go out and play with my friends, and that was the kind of person I was. So, so mostly I tried to run in school also. The games period is one thing. What I remember, the period which is the lunch period was around 20 minutes or something like that, and we used to have our lunch in 5 minutes and then go out and play. So that was the most beautiful period of my life in school, and I had a kind of a small group of friends and things like that. So slowly, I became more and more playful and less attentive in class, and then the naughtiness increased, and my father, apart from being strict, he was also into kind of drinking and all those kind of things, and then the whole juggle started between me and my father, and I would get punishments, and life was becoming quite tough. And then I reached the third standard when I went overboard with all my indulgences of not studying and going and playing outside, and whole of Saturday, Sunday, we used to have holidays, and whole of Saturday, Sunday, and at one point of time, the TV came in. Of course, that is at a later stage. I think in the year 1984, when the TV came in. But much before that, also, it was all play, all play and play, and no study at all. And I failed in class third. That was kind of a big jolt for me to face the kind of shame of repeating the class and going and sitting with the junior class, not being able to face my own classmates who moved ahead and things like that. So, but when I look back today, definitely I feel that is the jolt which I got quite early in my life, and I gathered a lot of courage to discipline myself to a certain extent, and also move up in life, and also face failures. And slowly again, it was a kind of a dual kind of a thing between studying and also playing. So around sixth class, this was going on, like even though I had to repeat a class, but I was not doing well in school, and there was again a juggle kind of a thing. Father was not available at home. He was mostly into his own friends, and Sundays mostly he was out, and so a lot of other things which attracted me, because I was wanting to enjoy life and also learn a lot of things. So in that kind of a township, we had all the festivals we used to celebrate, especially the Diwali and Holi, and Saraswati Puja and whatnot, Durga Puja and all those things. And I used to be kind of ringleader. I mean, there was an instance where I used to play with the elder boys, and to a certain extent, they appreciated me because I was very good at cricket and football and some games. But somehow, at some point of time, I was being exploited by them, that that I'm good at playing, so, and they would not give me a chance. So that is the first time I gathered a group of younger lot. Some were my peer, and some of them were smaller children. And then I formed a team of my own self, and which was much nearer to my home. And we used to play there, and then also have matches with the the other team and defeat them, and all those kind of things was going on at that point of time. And sixth standard onwards, I understood that I am an average guy in as far as academics is concerned, and I'm not much keen in and I was struggling in mathematics and physics and those kind of. English was quite good for me. Hindi languages were quite good for me, but the sciences, maths, and history and geography was like I was pathetic in that, and also because of the kind of teachers. Some of the teachers were rude, and those days teachers were strict disciplinarians, and I was caught for all kinds of wrong things which I had not done, and that was the kind of person I was. And also at the same time trying to impress others, and trying to make my own gang, and all those kind of things was happening there. At some point of time, then I picked up interest in running. So the sixth class was the first time when I became the champion of the school. And that was a great moment for me. And then every year I would win a lot of prizes in athletics, and that gave me a lot of confidence. Ninth grade was again a place I was like, again, adolescent age and attracted to girls and all those kind of diversions happening, and was almost, on the verge of repeating the class and failing, but somehow got a kind of a promotion. And then, I somehow managed the first class in the 10th grade. And that is the time I was very serious about representing India in athletics, because I grew up as a fine athlete, and I built up myself and things like that. And I was selected for a camp in Ranchi to represent the district, and slowly I represented the state, and then got an opportunity to represent. I represented the state in India level. But that is the point. At very young stage, I was in 11th and 12th grade, and also taken up science. Again, the big mistake which I made, because pursuing an athletic career with science, again, no one to guide, and all the pressure from the parents, from the father's side, that he was an engineer, and he wanted me to be an engineer and all those kind of things. So wrote all kinds of exams like IITG and Roorkee and whatnot, all kinds of regional engineering examinations and other kind of exams and all those things. So it was quite a kind of move, going for tuitions, and then morning 4 hours of training, evening 4 hours of training in the camps, the athletic camps, and then going for tuitions in between, and then attending college, all those kind of things, and preparing for engineering and all those kind of things was happening. All this journey, I would say that, even though my father was quite a terror kind of a person, my mother was quite a loving person, and my sister also, to a large extent. But I grew up with a lot of jealousy with my sister, because, my father used to appreciate her more and give her favors rather than giving me favors, because I was a person who questioned and rebelled. And there was a point in 9th grade when ran out of, it was in, I think, in 3rd or 4th grade, when I ran out of home because of the torture he was giving me. And in 9th grade, I totally rebelled. And, there was a classmate of mine. His mother was a history teacher, and he failed 2 times and came into my class when I was in 6th grade. And I gained a lot of confidence, though it was he was kind of a, Dada kind of a person. Dada is also a brother, but also a big boss kind of a person. We had a lot of, Bengalis there. So definitely this word Dada was there, a big brother kind of person. And one day, we both were thrown out of the class, and this guy was standing beside me, and we used to look up to him, even though he was not good at studies at all, but he had a tough build and he was good in athletics and all. And, those days we were attracted to those kind of boys. And he was quite confident. And since he was senior, he definitely had a lot of courage and all those things. So he was standing there. We both were standing because of some mischief we did. And his mother came walking by, and then she gave him a warning that if this is the kind of studies you're doing, this is the kind of activities you're doing, again, you'll flunk in this class, and you'll not be able to go ahead. And then when his mother went away, he said something like I'll hit and, break her bones. This is what he said. And I was like struck in awe. How can he say like this? I mean, and then I got the courage, and ultimately 9th grade, I could really rebel my, torturous kind of a father, and said that, no, you can't unnecessarily be sarcastic with me, or, I'm a grown-up boy, and, I'll decide when to go out and play, and when to go for tuition, or when to go, and all those things. And from that day, it was quite easy for me, because, and then he took a back seat, because he understood that if he tortures me more, then, he would get it back. And from that day onwards, like, I gained a lot of confidence. And then also studied a lot. Of course, getting a first class itself, those days were not that easy, and that too in an ICSE kind of a grade. Of course, there were many people who got 70s and 80s and some of them 90s, but I was in some 60% kind of a thing. Of course, went for a lot of these engineering courses, but never got selected. And it was like only for an enjoyment kind of a trip. In 10th grade, someone told me there's something called National Defense Academy. Why don't you try for that? And I had heard that for the first time, and they said, you can join the Indian Army. And from that day, I was trying to get into the Indian Army. Somehow I wrote the examination, the National Defense Academy, which you write soon after your 12th grade, but couldn't clear that because of my poor academics. Failed by some 4 marks or something like that, and couldn't. Yeah, and even if I would have passed, I couldn't have made in the interview because my English standards were pathetic. Because growing up in Ranchi, Bihar, and even though I studied in a good school, I mean so-called good school, the Christian missionary kind of a school, but somehow it was quite damaging to my personality. And if I look back and say that if I could have got a better environment, then my personality would have been different at a different stage. Of course, later on, I built my personality to a large extent. Then I took my hometown was Kerala, but my mother was from Bangalore. And we used to visit Bangalore every year. There was a train from Bokaro to Chennai, and then we used to change from Chennai to go to Bangalore and then go to Kerala. And then that train was extended to Alapi. And that was the train we used to take, a 3 days kind of journey. That was quite, educative for me to go in that journey, pass through a lot of stations and enjoy the beauty of India. And every 2 years we used to take that trip. And so a thought came to me that as it is, I'm not going to clear the entrance examination for engineering, and then I took up physics honors there in Bihar itself. Those days it was Bihar. Now it's Jharkhand. But then somehow some inside force, came to me and said that I should not be continuing science. And then somehow I had seen the life in Bangalore and how the people speak English there. And even though my English standards were quite good, because ICSE school from 8th standard onwards, you study Shakespeare. You don't understand a shit about Shakespeare, but you study Shakespeare. But somehow, the written language was quite good because of the hard efforts and maybe studying Shakespeare or the high level of English and things like that. So then I somehow convinced my dad that I would go to Bangalore. And I'm interested. I told him I'm interested in civil services, so I'd take up arts kind of thing. He got convinced, and then I went, and then I joined a excellent college, St. Joseph's College in Bangalore, and that turned my life around. First time, because from the beginning, when I had this kind of a tussle with my dad, I used to think after 6th standard that I should be sent to a hostel. I'm not interested to stay at home. But the dream came true when after my 12th, I could get this opportunity. And that turned the whole thing around. The colors of Bangalore, the life in Bangalore, and of course, the hostel life. It was a hostel managed by the Jesuit fathers and quite disciplined. But I thoroughly enjoyed because I came from an environment of discipline, even though I had a lot of instances of rebelling and things like that. But I was clear in my mind that the 3 years of graduation, and then I would get into a kind of army kind of organization and then become an army officer. That was my aim, and my aim was to develop my personality. So first year I studied a lot. I took up arts with economics, political science, and sociology. And quite loving friends and a lot of people from all over. And the schooling, the college was also filled with a lot of good people, professors, and all those kind of things. And these were new subjects for me. Though I understood that I was not fit for science, I was not fit for commerce, but this was my line because I started enjoying subjects like economics, political science, sociology, and English and Hindi, and all those kind of subjects were there. And a lot of good friends, and the hostel life was really good. And I somehow, from my inside, I got that inclination to continue my sports, at least in the at least as a hobby and as a in the college life, and also to represent the university. Because at one stage when I was running a race at the state level in Patna, when I had been from Ranchi to Patna, and then I saw a few of them injecting drugs into them. And then they were people who were not performing well, but then that day I lost, and I lost a chance to go into the nationals. That is the day I decided, there's no point in competing. I can compete with myself. I can compete to maintain good health for myself rather than go into, high level kind of a competition, because there was no checking those days. And I lost a chance last chance, because, after that I had to go for graduation. And in graduation, all the 3 years, I was the champion of the college for sports, and also learned a lot of good English, because there people speak in Bangalore, people speak good English. And unlike Bihar, of course, where only in school people are encouraged to speak, but otherwise outside it is even the Hindi what we speak there is quite different. It has Bhojpuri, and some people are from Mithila, and some people are from Madhubani, and all those kind of languages. Around 5 kinds of languages are spoken there. So definitely a rich kind of a culture. So a lot of good friends, and even the Santhalis. When I was in sports, I had a lot of Santhalis from the Chota Nagpur area who used to join, and very tough people. Even people from Bihar, a lot of talent, and a lot of variety of festivals and culture and food and all those things. I realized that when I left Bihar and I went to, so I call myself more of a Bihari than a Keralite. It's a deadly combination, they say. In army we say it's a kind of a Molotov cocktail between a Mallu and a Bihari. So I reached the third year of college, and slowly, the first year, the academics again, I was more interested in developing my personality rather than getting into too much of studying and things like that. And I was enjoying my hostel life. So if you see the stats, the first year first class, second year second class, and third year third class, that was my kind of performance. But then, first year low confidence, second year slightly higher confidence, and third year a lot of confidence. And in third year I held 3 leadership positions, and maybe because of that I didn't perform well in exam, because for the final exam I studied only for 1 week. That was the time I had. That's all. Because the rest of the time I utilized. Some of them felt that I'm spoiled. Even my parents thought that I'm spoiled, that second year second class, and third year he's not confident whether he'll do well in academics. But I had understood that academics is not everything, and I had already performed. I was topper of the class in the first year of college, and I understood there's no point in just cramming and vomiting in the examination paper. For me, the personality was more important. So I did variety of things there. At some point of time, I also joined for the I don't know if you've heard of ICWI course, because I wanted to see whether at some point of time I can also become a cost accountant and things like that. But I drastically failed, and I didn't want to continue that line at all, because I was doing that in the evening college. So that's the kind of hard work I did. And in third year, I held 3 positions. One is I was the president of the St. Joseph's College hostel, and I was the sports captain of the St. Joseph's College of Arts and Science, Bangalore College. And I was the senior under officer. That's the highest position in NCC, in the senior cadet under officer of the NCC. So these were the three positions held, and I ended up with a kind of a pass in my third year. But I was quite clear. But again, my parents felt that I was not studying and I'm nowhere, and what am I going to do? And then I was at crossroads, not knowing what to do. And that was the time I joined a course which one of my cousin was doing. It was on creative thinking, and three or four of my friends joined, and that changed my life again. Where people talk about now people are talking about bringing creativity in your thinking, and this is way back in 1995, where before doing something else in the third year itself I was doing this. And then somehow it struck me, I'm more interested to be fight for justice of other people and things like that, because from my childhood days I couldn't tolerate my father ill-treating my mother, or my father ill-treating me, or anyone else, or or someone else ill-treating me. I was like, elder senior boys not exploiting others and things. So I thought, being a lawyer would be good for me. So I somehow convinced my father, and again continued in the hostel, and pursued my law. Sorry. And while I was pursuing that, why I didn't want to immediately go into the army, because at some point of time I attended a camp where I was totally disgusted by some of the officers there. The Indian Army officers I'm talking about, who were leading the NCC camp there. I was the senior under officer, and I was trying to, report something. And at some point of time, there was some kind of wrong charge which was put on some of my juniors, and I protested. And in the army you can't protest. The moment you protest, people will get after you and things like that. And I ended up with a satisfactory in the certification which they gave, and I understood this is life. If you're truthful, you must be ready to get all kinds of negative things from other people. And if you're truthful and vocal, then you get it more. So that is one point. And at that point of time, after my college, when I joined my law college, I was like looking for something more meaningful in my life. That is the time I joined a social organization called Samvada in Bangalore. I was a fellow of, it was an Indo-German IGSSS, Indo-German Social Service Society kind of a thing. And they had various other organizations in Delhi, and one in Pune, and one in Kolkata, I think. And this was called Samvada, means dialogue in Kannada. So I joined that, and I found a lot of things about, because they're talking about I don't know if anyone of you have read this book by Schumacher called Small is Beautiful. That's the crux, that's the basis of their dealing with people, and protecting farmers, and protecting people who are exploited by landlords and things like that. So from that age, that spark was there, was introduced to me, and somehow I was not much keen on joining the Indian Army, because Indian Army has a legacy of the British, and it's a kind of a job, of course, to protect the country, and to fight battles and lead men into the battlefield, fine. But in the second year of college, somehow, I felt that, because of my involvement in the sports, and because of my involvement in NCC and all these things, I think I should go into the army, and then earn a name for myself, and then come into the social field or the education field. That is the time I was doing parallelly 2-3 things, because the social organization I went to, I read a book by Dr. Maria Montessori, and she is the first lady doctor of Italy. And she brought out this Montessori pedagogy, the education system, where she experimented with the children who had cerebral palsy, or who were special children. And she experimented with that, and beautifully those children responded and started learning things. That is way back. I think she's a contemporary of Mahatma Gandhi, and she had visited when Mahatma Gandhi was there. I think early 19, I think 18 or something like that. And she introduced the Montessori pedagogy to India. First started with Kolkata and then came to Chennai. And so that was, I got attracted to that. And then my law college was half time, that is morning till around 10 o'clock. And also I was participating again in sports and a lot of championships and all those things. But I had a lot of free time. So from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the evening, I did this Montessori course. And I was actually the only man, only boy. I would be how much, 24 years to, I know, 22, 23 years old then. I was only boy in my class along with 60 odd girls, because usually this pre-primary kind of a course only girls do. Even today, a lot of inhibition men, and also because of the low pay and all those kind of things. But somehow after reading Maria Montessori's I was attracted to that. And I knew that, I can't make a career out of it immediately, but at some point of time, this is going to help me. And I kept it as a treasure. And I enjoyed the course thoroughly. One, because, I was surrounded by girls. And second, also because I loved the pedagogy. I loved the way the educators were teaching there, and loved the Montessori pedagogy, which she had developed. The day I completed the course, I got selected. 1 month back, I got selected and I joined the Indian Army. That is on 1st of April, no, 1st of May, 1997. That is the time when I joined, after I did 2 years of law college and I had completed the Montessori kind of education. And 1 year left, I said, okay, I can, there was no need to attend college and all. I thought I'll come back and I can complete law. Even though I was interested in law, but then at some point of time, I somehow saw the culture of the college and, the students and the professors, and somehow I felt, again, dilemma, liar or lawyer, or what should I become? I do not want to get into, cases where people are not truthful, because I wanted to be in the social field to protect people, but not get into becoming a commercial lawyer where your aim is to only protect a person who's giving you the fees, but may be truthful, may not be truthful. So that I was not much keen on that after I completed 2 years. And then, of course, I got selected in the army, and then I joined the army. That was like 5 years. And I deliberately joined Officers Training Academy, because Officers Training Academy, those days, was giving short service for 5 years. 1 year of training at Officers Training Academy, Chennai, and 5 years of short service. And after that, one could choose to leave. But if I would have joined the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, then definitely, it's a permanent commission, and one couldn't leave. And one had to pay before leaving if one wants to leave before 20 years. So that is the kind of choice I made, deliberate choice. And my interest was to, everyone knows Army is one of the best run government organization, one. Second, the leadership kind of training you get there is world class. It's not just leadership, it's also developing your physique and your mental abilities and everything, your confidence level, your personality, everything you develop there. And then, of course, you are prepared to be a professional killer, a professional leader who lead men into the battlefield. And that was, an adventure, because that is a time my blood was quite hot and wanted to, I won't say wanted to serve the country, but serve myself and my abilities to, of course, that thing was there to serve the country, not against a country called Pakistan or China or anyone. Because when I went to the social organization, Samvada, all my thoughts, lot of liberal thoughts came into me where, I had respect for, other worldviews and perspectives. I developed that slowly. And then the creative thinking course, which I did, again opened my horizons. And I was not a fanatic or a kind of a patriot who is who's wanting to fight against someone who's not correct or something like that. But yes, as far as adventure is concerned, yes. As far as protecting, one's own integrity of the nation, yes. And also, larger aim was to develop my own personality and to lead people, and also to meet more people, because army gives a wide exposure to different kinds of people from different cultures and different lands. And also at the cost of the government, and because of the nature of the job, you get to see the best of places in India. And that was one of the aim, to see the border areas, which otherwise not many people get an opportunity to see. So a whole 5 years was kind of, a roller coaster ride, starting with the training. Okay, the training, the first few months, it was a literal shock for me. It was a cultural, even though I grew up in Bihar, hearing a lot of those kind of profane words, I do not want to use them here, but the 4-letter words, and, in the army, a lot of people use that, and some of them misuse that, and because of the ego, some of them use it to, bring out the motivation in you, bring out that fire in you and things like that. But some of them, because they are more sadistic, and they want to, satisfy their ego by using all that 4-letter kind of words, and the words in Hindi and MC and BC and kind of all those kind of words. So it was kind of, even though I grew up in Bihar and hearing all these like good morning and good night kind of words said early in the morning and in the night and everywhere in the town, but somehow 3 years of my again Bangalore is a culture where you use some words in English and Kannada and all those kind of things. But then somehow it didn't, I was a person who didn't really want to listen to that, because it was degrading women. Most of those words were degrading women, and I somehow, my conscience in somehow didn't. So it was a cultural shock for me when liberally those kinds of words were used by being. But I thoroughly enjoyed the company of some of my course-mates, but some of the seniors were sadist and tried to torture and things like that. And I was kind of a rebel there, where I couldn't take anyone's shit kind of language, using kind of 4-word letters, and I would retaliate. And the moment you retaliate in the army, it's like you get rogered and tortured nicely. And that made me tough. Those days were difficult for me. There were days where I was into kind of punishment for in the night till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and no sleep and all those kind of things. But then that made me tough, because when you are without sleep, without food sometimes, and all kinds of physical fitness, then I slowly understood, and some people said it is to break your ego, but somehow I felt that it strengthened my ego more, and I became more tough to face any kind of situations. And and people call such people as bonds in the army. Not the James Bond, but maybe the army bond or something. And I was one of them, was also called, and I was, as it is, tough in physicals, because then no one could actually do anything to me. And there was a time I remember, it had rained in Chennai, and you know how when it rains in Chennai, all the drainages get blocked, and there's a lot of water. And I was, for 2 hours, I was rolling in that water because of I retaliated some senior or something like that. And I remember a funny kind of a situation. You have this kind of toughening kind of thing, and some people, because they are sadist, they want to, they call you in the night and then make you do all kinds of physical exercises and things like that. So there were 3 of us who were caught, doing something wrong, or I don't know what. So one of my friend and then two others were called to, put the weights on me. So one guy was sitting on my shoulder, and there were 2 other guys, their legs on my just above my hips, and I had to do push-ups. and I was quite tough. I was doing it, but at some point of time, I just laughed out loud, saying that, what is this happening, kind of. And then, the ego of that senior hurt. And what he did was, he asked others to go. And then he said, okay, And the worst kind of treatment they would give is like legs on the wall. Legs on the wall is like your hands are on the floor and your legs have to be on the wall up, and you have to stay there. And the moment you come down again, the person would ask you the whole night. And I said, how much can he do? He also has to sleep. It was already 12 o'clock. And then at some point of time, he used a profane word with me. That is the moment I just got up and banged his door and I left. And he came running behind me. I said, don't come. If you come, I'll run, go in front of the, the main officer of the Officers Training Academy, and I'll make it an issue. And then they, backed out. But of course, after that, again, there were a lot of people who got after me because of this kind of rebellious nature. And I used to rebel because I said, no using profane word. The moment you use profane word with me, you got it. But, some of them use it as good morning and good night. So that is fine with me. But when you attach it to ego and you use it, then, I'm the last person to accept it. Then somehow, passed out with good colors. And I was an appointment also there. Becoming an appointment is also not that easy, especially, you are a rebel kind of a person. It's not that easy, but somehow I was an appointment. And then I got my choice of regiment. That's the Madras Regiment. Madras Regiment, by the way, is one of the oldest regiments. And luckily, I got one of the oldest regiment in the Madras Regiment, oldest battalion in the, and they are known as Travancore. And then my whole, the army life started. And I'll just be brief here because, there's so many things which happened. Of course, the positive side and the negative side. The positive side is like a lot of camaraderie amongst officers and, a lot of enjoyment during peace station and even during, when we go for operations and things like that. So I did my young officers course. So 6 months after the Officers Training Academy, whole of 9 months, and then 6 months of Officers Training Academy, the young officers course in a place called Mao, which is the military headquarters of war near Indore, and then 40 days of the tough commando course in Belgaum. And after that, you are a full-fledged officer. You can launch yourself and go into, any kind of battle, even cross-border kind of battles, because you are trained as a commando. So after that stint, just as I completed my commando course, the Kargil war started, and that was in the year 1999. And I passed out in 98, just a lieutenant, and we were launched into the war. My battalion was somewhere in Sikkim, that side. And from Belgaum, I moved towards Sikkim. And then from there, we had a 10 days travel in special trains to a place called Udhampur. And then from there, we were launched into the battles. So I would not be able to give the details of the battle, but then, we were part of one operation, which was quite tough, and we definitely lost men. That is the time, I started thinking, what am I into? Where we are losing men, and and also because I had a kind of background of political science, so my thinking mind started thinking that what am I into? Why are we into a war? This could have been avoided, and a lot of discussion. But in the army, there are different perspectives. So juggling with those perspectives, that is the time I enrolled for a course called Master of Arts in Peace Studies and Gandhian Thought. And I used to read a lot of Jittu Krishnamurti and Osho and different kinds of philosophers, basically educationists, Paulo Freire, and also because of my social kind of background of being with the NGO, I used to read a lot of those kind of books of exploitation and, theory of the oppressed, story of the oppressed and things like that, theater of the oppressed. Sorry, I'll just take some more. and some kind of transformation happening. And I was quite clear after it was quite tough. The battle was quite tough, and after that we were launched into the insurgency scene in Kashmir. The battle was, of course, we were in the border area, just 100 meters away, and it was quite a dangerous kind of situation where we were in, and there were orders of we crossing over and fighting the battle, and all those kind of things happened, which could have been avoided, of course. But I do not want to comment on the political scene then and what happened and all those kind of things. But then I started thinking, I have an educationist inside, I have a social worker inside, I have a kind of a counselor inside. So I need not be here. I can serve for 5 years and then move on. And then this kind of an incident happened in my life, where there were some officers who were not actually doing their duty, but they were more interested in having fun and pilfering things for their own personal needs and things like that. And what happened was, I was posted I was in a company of my battalion, and I was just posted around 100 meters away from the Pakistani post. And there was a kind of order which came where 5 of the soldiers had come back from leave, and most of my soldiers are from the Madras regiment, are from the southern part, and some of the officers were from Punjab and other places, Haryana and all those kind of places. And I was just a lieutenant and just promoted as a captain then, with around 2 years of service in the year 2000. This is year 2000, and somewhere in June or something like that, December or something like that. So these people came, and the actual rule is, when people come, especially the South Indian troops have come into a snowbound area, and you need to be acclimatized for 5 days. If you're not acclimatized, then you can get any kind of lung disease, or you can be affected by frostbite and all those kind of things can happen. So there was a shortage of men in my company, and I was 100 meters away, and sometimes there were some kind of firing exchanges and all. But after the Kargil war, there was not much of it. It was mostly a peaceful kind of a situation there, and we were enjoying the beauty of nature and snow and all those kind of things. So, and these people, there was a kind of a tiff between the commanding officer and the Havaldar who had come back and who was supposed to lead these 8 men to my post. So I called up my commanding officer and said, the climate is not good today, and they have not been acclimatized. So please acclimatize them and then send them. But he didn't listen. He got angry on me. You are just a lieutenant, and you are talking to a colonel with around 18 years of service. And this is army, man. This is not a civil kind of a life. So you better learn to obey. So I said, okay, fine. So before coming to my post, there's another post of ours, a company of ours, and they halted there, and it was around 9 o'clock in the morning. And in the morning, the Havaldar again called me and said, sir, the climate is snowing, and now it is snowing, and we know that by afternoon the snow would be thicker, and we would be stranded somewhere. So again, I tried calling the colonel, the commanding officer, but he didn't listen. He said, march. Okay, so they marched, and I said, I can't do anything. I tried my best, but I can't do anything about it. So they marched, and then what happened was, they came. The whole stretch is around. If there is no snow, it takes 3 hours or something like that to reach from the company, from where they start. From the headquarters, they move to one company. Sorry, I can't even tell the name of the company. And from there, again, you move to my company, which is around 100 meters away from the Paki post. For that, it takes around 12 hours if it is snowbound. Why? Because if there is snow, you put your leg and then the whole leg goes in till knee deep. And then you take your other leg and then you start moving like this. And then you have a load of 22 kgs, your own, luggage and your rifle and your all those things. It comes to around 24 kgs, including everything. So 3 hours journey, 4 hours journey takes you around 12 hours. So if you start at 9 o'clock in the morning, you reach at 9 o'clock in the night, walking, all snowbound kind of areas. But no threat in between because the Pakistani post is, we are protecting the post. And there are some other posts in between of other battalions. Okay. So they started and they were supposed to come at 9 o'clock. So it was 9 o'clock. I didn't find them. I said, okay, maybe, and we're trying to contact them and the climate went bad as predicted, as assumed. It was snowing heavily and we could not trace them. No radio contact, nothing. 10 o'clock, I called my commanding officer. He said, maybe he was having a drink or something. And he said, nothing, don't worry, they will come. Okay. 11 o'clock, I got a panic call from the colonel, the commanding officer, telling me, Captain, you have to send search parties. So I said, okay. And search parties, he said, search parties in 3 directions, because we don't know which direction. They might have lost their direction and gone somewhere else or whatever. So I didn't have time to, reply to him. But in my head, I was thinking, heart of heart, I was thinking, what a fool. Because, I am protecting a Paki post. And he's asking me to send 3 parties in the night, search party. There'll be a lot of movement. And, people come to know, anyone can attack and take over the post. And he also asked me to shoot the illumination round so that if they are somewhere around, they could come and meet. So that again was a foolish kind of a decision. But somehow I had to obey the order. So from 10 o'clock till around 2 hours, around 12:30, we found them in the night and dark night, no, moonlight or anything, dark night. So in between using our torches, trying to find out things, and all stranded in a kind of a snowbound area, and all of them shivering with cold and things like that. And when I saw them, that was the first time I was hardly around 25 years old, 24, 25 years old. And, when they removed the gloves, one of them removed the gloves, the whole skin came out and I could see the flesh. That is the time I understood it's all frostbite. And that is what was there in the mind of the Havildar, because he was experienced enough to tell them that this could happen. And that happened. And all of them affected by frostbites, all 8 of them. And that is the time when I called him back, he said, march them back. That was the order. Because those days, we didn't have facilities for the night choppers to land, the night helicopters to land. It didn't have that kind of a visibility to land in the night. So they were ordered to march back to the battalion all the way back. So they march, reached the other company somewhere at 4 o'clock or something, and then reached the company at around 6 o'clock in the morning again. And with that kind of a hand, frostbite in the leg and hand and all those kind of stuff, you can imagine what could be the trauma of those people. And then the choppers were brought, because daylight choppers came, and then they were taken to the base camp in Srinagar, where they were being treated. And I had no information about what happened to them. 1 month passed. After 1 month, I got an opportunity to go on leave. And that is the time I go there and I meet these people, and I get tears in my eyes. Most of them lost their limbs, either the limbs in the legs or hands, or all of them crippled. And that is the time, that social thing which I had and the law thing which I did came out of me. And I fought a legal battle for 6 months against this colonel, because of whom they lost the hands and legs. Some of them had got engaged, the engagement broke, And the first battle we fought was for 3 months. That is a legal battle, the military, under the military law. It's called a court of inquiry. And the first battle we fought again, some manipulations happened. And the order came that all the 8 people had given some wrong kind of a complaint, and they were all asked to move out of the army. They were dismissed from the army. Then I fought the battle till the highest level which was possible, and they were taken back, and we won the whole thing. And this man lost his promotions and everything. And I do not want to go too much into it, but I would say within a year he died of blood cancer. But of course, that's the bolt from the divine. But then his wife and his children suffered because he went away. So that's one part. Of course, a lot of positive things of toughness and camaraderie and things, but also these kind of negative things, the legacy of the British, we say. And Angrej chale gaye, Angreji chhod gaye, hum gulam ke gulami rahe. That's the unfortunate thing which happened happens with many of the people who are just there for pomp and show. We get trained, and then we say that we live by chance and we kill by choice. But then there are people who kill their own. So after that, I wrote something called The Enemy Within. And these are people who are enemy within, and more dangerous than the enemy without. That person sitting there, maybe a Pakistani fighting for his country, and he's a brave soldier there. Salute to him. Then salute this kind of people who kill their own people, who can lead, who are supposed to lead, but they don't lead, they mislead. Anyway, so how much ever I can say, I can take out all the black blood from me, but yeah, that's the story that is the end of the story of the army. Served in a lot of places. After that, we moved to Arunachal, and then I had a chance to fight the insurgency happening in the Northeast. That was again, Northeast is beautiful. Again, place-wise, people, the culture, a lot of things. All the 8 sisters. Of course, I couldn't visit all the 8 sisters, but at least the 4 sisters I visited. Arunachal was beautiful, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, all these kind of places, Assam. And the kind of food, different places, even Kashmir, and ultimate, and the people, quite loving, quite good. Kashmir was a different scene. Of course, people had 2 different faces. Some of them, very much interested to, bring in peace, and some of them protecting the terrorists and all those kind of things were there. Okay. Then starts my journey. Of course, I ended it and then started my journey of the education line. Deliberately left the army because I wanted to, of course, I didn't mention this. When I was in the Montessori, out of the 60 girls, my life partner was selected then, my wife, Nisha. And of course, she waited till I came into that, because I didn't want to take her into the army kind of a life, because I'd seen the peace station and other kind of places where, of course, the legacy of the British and parties and all those kind of things, and she also grew up as an educationist. After her Montessori course, she joined as a pre-primary teacher, and then she continued there in a very good organization in Tumkur called the TVS Academy. Some maybe Satyanand would know the academy. And she was groomed as I didn't want her to come into this kind of a culture where, there are more of people who are into parties and gossips and things like that, unfortunately. So the day I got out of the army, I got married. And that was my plan. But of course, in between, she was my girlfriend, and she used to come wherever I was, and we used to travel a lot. Because we used to get 60 days of annual leave plus 20 days of casual leave, and I didn't miss any of them. Of course, during the war and when the battalion needed me, I was always there. Came into the education field. Thought that, oh, now I'm in a liberal space. I'm in a kind of a education kind of a space, and I'm out of that yes, boss kind of a mentality, but I was wrong, actually. I would not like to compare that, but yeah, that there started the roller coaster ride of my K-12 private school education, uh, starting from being an educator, then head of boarding, then principal of a school, then director of a group of schools, then CEO of a group of schools and things like that. And again, a roller coaster ride. After that, I would have changed, in 26 years, I would say 1996 to 2003. I would be today, the assignment I am in is my 20th assignment. So you can imagine 20 assignments I would have changed. Of course, the maximum was in the army 6 years. And then, of course, my first school as a principal, where I was for 6 years. So starting the journey, I started with a school in Bangalore, an international school. I would not like to name the school nor the people. But again, that was the time in 2003 when the IB course was introduced in India. A lot of schools, high-fi schools took up the kind of affiliation for IB and Cambridge, IGCSE kind of courses. But somehow found that, it is a kind of a business rather than, what you're promising. And I was the house parent of one of the leading schools in Bangalore, doing quite well, led by a general of Indian Army, unfortunately. At some point of time, I had to tell him, please don't lead this educational institute as an army unit. This needs more. There was a time when a lot of teachers from the Valley School, the famous Valley School, the Krishnamurti Valley School, left that organization and joined this man, because of his charisma or the motivation he was trying to give an ex-army general and things like that. Within 6 months, people left and went. My wife joined me after marriage, we joined this organization, and I had to give him a blast. I was just a major, and had to give him a blast saying that people like you, I don't know how you have come into the army and become a general or whatever, but if you are leading an educational institute, I'm sorry. And if you're talking about ideals and then, there is something else happening here. Just 2 incidents I will narrate, which will let you know what happened there. There were students from Thailand, Korea, and Dubai coming there. And what this man was doing was, he was trying to impress the parents of some of the students who were filthy rich, and making them appointments like head boy and sports captain. Sports captain, if you see him, you would laugh. And that is the time, that rebellious nature came back. I said, now I'm in the field of education. I should not keep quiet. These are people who are talking about ideals of education. And then I'm seeing here, there's a boy crying there in the corner. And I'm the house parent in the administration. And also I had some teaching assignments there because I wanted to, at some point of time, wanted to become a principal of a school kind of. So, and I said, why are you crying? I said, I stood for election and I performed well. My teachers voted for me, everything, my students voted for me. I've got the highest votes, but there's a panel of interview there, and they rejected me and selected someone else. And everyone knew how those 3-4 guys were selected. Some of them were kids who were spoiled brats. And when I went up to the general and asked him, why have you selected these people? There's a talk happening here. The teachers are talking, teachers from Valley School, Krishnamurti Valley School, and they cannot tolerate this kind of partial, kind of treatment, what you're giving. And he said, I'm giving chance to a child who has never experienced this kind of leadership and all kinds of nonsense. And I immediately informed the parents of these guys, and said they took a flight and came, and then there was a big talk. Of course, when I did something like that, within a year I had to move out, because no one tolerates people who can stand up and question, and especially a major questioning a general Saab. I had to move out. Some of them said that wait and watch, this will change. Now they are looking for admissions and all those things. I said this can't change. This is something which is ingrained. Something you're untruthful about. You are wanting to mint money in the education sector. Mint money, but speak the truth. Do not do something which is untruthful with children, because children are watching us day in and out. And I moved out again. When you move out, all these 18 times I moved in 25 years, I never thought of whether I would get a job or not. And unfortunately, my wife also suffered with me. My parents also suffered with these moves. But yeah, one positive side is I had certain places I had to sit without a job, sometimes for 3 months, sometimes I got advance 3 months. Low bhai, take 3 months advance salary, and please, we would be very grateful if you can go. That was the kind of environment. So talking about 18 places would be difficult, and you would get bored with that. But I would like to give some highlights of what happened in these educational institutes where I served. So first one was this. Second one was one of the most high fee charging school of India in Gurgaon. That was my second assignment after 2 years in this Bangalore kind of a school. And there, I would use words like Christian, Marwadi, Dubai Muslim, or please don't mistake me, disclaimer here. Please don't mistake me. I'm using it just for the sake of using, because there are some general characteristics, nothing related to religion as such. But I'm just, and again, I'm not generalizing. But just to give you a background, because certain backgrounds can be generalized. So when I use a Marwadi kind of a person, a Kattar Marwadi whose only interest is in money. And all these places where I change, one thing is because, certain places I go, I don't have some people tell me, okay, why don't you, look for a organization which is truthful, which would do things honestly, and go there. I said, if I had the choice, yes, but I also have to fill my stomach. My parents are with me. My wife is with me. Of course, my wife also grew as a principal at some point of time, and she became independent. But till that time, I had to think of things. Of course, luckily we didn't have children, and we didn't want to have children, because we are passionate about being in the field of education, and also, being in the social kind of a field related to educators, like supporting the educators and standing against the exploiters. In law college, one thing happened from where this thing emerges is definitely my authoritative father, whom I rebelled. And, I got the confidence to rebel because of that boy who stood, in Tahe Zameen Par, you remember the boy making footprints on the wall with his shoes. That is the kind of scenario we were in, and I getting that kind of a confidence to rebel there. So that continued as a pattern for 18 times with me. 18 places I changed, starting from, moving from Pathankot. I was in Pathankot, then came to Bangalore, from Bangalore to Gurgaon to another place near Haridwar in UP, and from Haridwar to Porbandar in Gujarat, and from Gujarat to again came to Bangalore. I took a sabbatical. Of 1 year, where in fact, before that I was in a wonderful school. In fact, I was selected by some leading educationists in the country, And that was my first school as a principal after the stint in Gurgaon. Again, Gurgaon was for filthy rich kind of students where some of the students would come up and say that, why are you disciplining us? हमें कल क्या पता होना कि कितना आया और कितना गया. That means how much came into my kitty and how much has gone. That's all mathematics I need to know. I don't need to do education. I don't need to do anything about it. And so we decided after a year that this is not the space for it. Then we got, both of us, I was selected as the principal in this school near Haridwar in UP. Both of us, I was selected as the principal, and we were selected by some great educationists who were doing some great experiments in the country. In Delhi, some of the best schools. Of course, just for the sake of confidentiality, I would not be able to take names of the schools. But yeah, one-to-one, I'll be able to, if anyone wants to know, I can always talk about the schools names. That is the place where I would say was my alma mater in the field of education, because we were trained, before also we were trained in the IB method. It's called the primary years program, the philosophy of the IB profile and things like that in both the schools, the school in Bangalore and in Gurgaon. And after that, we were trained by this organization of educationists who were doing a lot of, those days, today we are talking about the new education policy. And even the National Curriculum Framework 2005 had just come out. And we were deeply into it and talking about experiential learning and learning styles and how to bring about effective learning and happy classroom, happy teachers and whatnot. And a lot of training sessions for educators. And it was like, and we had a lot of educators we selected from a beautiful school called the Mirambika School in Delhi. I don't know if you have heard the Mothers International School, set up by the Arvind Society there. You have beautiful schools in the Auroville, Pondicherry, and replica of that is these kind of schools. And we had a lot of guidance from them, the educators who joined from humble families, and and that was full 5 years of a lot of travel to different NGOs and education spaces. Like, I don't know if you have heard about Shikshantar in Udaipur and Digantar in Jaipur and many such organizations, a lot of Krishnamurti kind of schools, and then Riverside School in Ahmedabad and the Mirambika School, and many umpteen number of NGOs we visited along with the educators. Because one thing which I felt was, if the educators do not have the exposure, they cannot be involved in holistic education. And that's what is the tragedy of education today everywhere. Many of the educators have not even traveled beyond their district. That's the unfortunate, and they are teaching social science, geography and history and other things. How can they do that? So that is how. And then also another thing, beautiful thing, which I initiated there along with my wife, is a lot of good cultural activities and students involved in the whole process. There was student voice, there was teacher voice happening, and parent voice. Everyone, it was a totally democratic kind of a setup. The whole ideals which I joined the law system, the legal education long back, 1996, and also the social organization Samvada was because, and that was realized here. Of course, in the army, certain things where I rebelled and, I could stand up to the exploitation of people, and in the first school in Bangalore, I did that. But here, definitely, I was like flowered. I was flowering like never before. And so that was the lot of things happened there. And then came a point of time when, money was not enough. Because happiness was there and a lot of things, but money was less. And also, it was a factory kind of an environment, and there was exploitation of people not wanting to give. The educators were not wanting to respect the educators. So that is the point I decided to move on. Then again, the roller coaster continued. I moved to a big industrialist, who were into cement production, and they wanted to set up 2 world schools. one in Porbandar and one in Veerawal in Gujarat. And I was selected amongst some 50 odd kind of principals. And I was their education officer, selected 1 year before the school would come up. 4 months, I could tolerate the person who was leading as the director, who was then in the year 2013 earning some 50 lakh rupees per year. And you can imagine the kind of ego and kind of person, who leads that kind of projects. I could just be there for 3 months, and then they paid me 3 months advance salary and said, please leave. I said, thank you very much. I'll enjoy for 3 months and then I'll look for something else. And that is the time I took a sabbatical. I said, it's right time for me. 2003, I left the Indian Army, and 2013, 10 years, let me take a sabbatical. I took a full 1 year sabbatical in Bhumi College. Here I would like to proudly take the name. And I did a course called Science and Management of Sustainable Living and Education. So the full year was a lot of experiments, a lot of things on organic farming and sustainable living and conscious cooking and healthy eating, and a lot of things about the worldwide things happening like the climate change and a lot of those kind of wider issues and grassroots small issues of how to change your life and take care of yourself and things like that. After that, I got in as a director of one of the schools in Maharashtra, in Aurangabad. Again, couldn't tolerate much. 6 months where the teachers were being exploited. It was I was the 10th director. I mean, I was the director, but there were 10 principals who were changed in 10 years. So I was the 10th person in that 10 years. So I came to know that later. Then took a shot again, had a kind of a tussle and had to leave overnight, and joined a yoga school there, and a 3 months kind of a course, and took the yoga. That was kind of again a sabbatical for me. And meanwhile, I got into an international organization. Now the scenario is changing slowly from a school principal director kind of a person. And also the school near Haridwar, I established 3 more schools and became a director after a principal. Then this is an international kind of an organization. Again, can't take the name. So here, max was 6 months, could have continued or earned a lot of good money. And all these places after the Haridwar thing, it was all, good pay package for me. But somehow couldn't tolerate what kind of dynamic person they wanted to lead. And the moment I entered, they murdered my dynamism. And I said, I am because of my dynamism. I am because of my ideals and my values systems in life. If anyone compromises or tries to play around with that, I'm not there. You can lead, you can bring anyone you want. I may be the 10th principal, I may be the 4th principal, doesn't matter. I may be getting, double the salary what someone promised me. No. So this was near Ahmedabad in Gujarat, an international organization with headquarters in France and some 10 odd schools, and serving a particular community of people. They have schools in Hyderabad, and they have schools in Ahmedabad side, and a lot of those kind of. And then also another wing has social service organization. But I would say that totally hollow from inside. There were 3 people leading the education verticals. The CEO of the education they were propagating, the CEO, the CFO, the HR person, and the education head. And all from a particular place called Kolkata in West Bengal. Again, no offense, no generalization, but just to build a story and give you a background, I'm saying that. And there's a good nexus and networking, and the idea, what I was saying is that a lot of training and things happening for the people in the headquarters in Bombay. But when it comes to the teachers, 20 years of service and 20,000 rupees. That was the salary. And they were trying to raise their voice, and every principal, and again, there, I was the 17th principal in 20 years. So you can imagine. So after that, I started asking, people used to ask me, how many jobs have you changed? And I would say X number of times. And then before I left, I would ask me, how many principals have you changed before? And no one likes that question. Because ultimately, people want a puppet, people want a slave as a principal. They do not want a leader. And if you're a leader material, then you can't survive there. But, then I made it a trend. Okay, let it be 6 months. So 3 jobs in a row, one in Maharashtra, the second one in Gujarat, and the third one in Kerala. The Maplas from the Perindanmanna area, most of them who have bases in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, running schools there. I thought maybe they have established it because they want the community to come up. Unfortunate, no. 12 directors there, and all looking at how can their 1 crore turn into 2 crores. No botheration about what quality are you going to, and then put the pressure on the CEO. I was CEO of 3 schools there. One school in Cochin, one school in, the Malabar area, and another school somewhere in between. So around 6 months there. So these are the 3 schools where 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. One was the deputy director, the other one was a principal, and the third one was CEO of school, and good high salaries. But again, I was the 5th principal in 3 years or something like that. So again, the question came here, what is this happening in the education scene? Okay, that is the time when I got a bolt from the blue. 2016, an active, dynamic person, served the Indian Army, fought the Kargil War, and a person who could reject jobs and move ahead. Attended 16 interviews, rejected everywhere. I don't know. I mean, my wife was throughout with me, but again, at some point of time after 2013, she became an independent principal, and she was somewhere else, I was somewhere else. And at some point of time, I realized that my drinking was happening more, and my indulgences were happening because of my frustration in the field of education, where I'm looking for removing exploitation. I'm looking for more truthfulness and honesty of bringing about learning and education for the purpose for which I am, and bringing in leadership qualities, not just in students, but also in educators. Because educators, I was firmly believing educators are people who are pillars of the school. Second comes the principal. First comes the educator. So irrespective of religion, irrespective of the background, whether Marwadi or Lala or Muslim or Christian or Hindu or whatever, it was only one motive which I could see, and that was to increase the money part. I had no issues with that. In fact, when I went for interviews, I said, I can make you 1 crore into 10 crores. Give me the opportunity, but let's take the good path, and during that path, let's respect the educators. But no. People would say yes. And after that, there was, of course, after that, that 1 year, and this is the year 2016, a dynamic person like me was lying like a log. My parents are worried, and suicidal thoughts, and like, what is happening with me? And some of them cursing me, saying that, why are you wasting your time fighting for others, fighting for educators? And all kinds of thoughts coming to me that I'm wrong, I'm guilty. And I attend all kinds of workshops and meditations and whatnot. alternative healing, and I somehow didn't go for psychological counseling. I should have gone. I mean, the clinical psychology part, but somehow I didn't want to get that label. I had that inhibition. After 1 year, somehow I got that confidence. I don't know from where. I was totally sick for 1 year. Left everything, no smoking, no drinking, and a lot of spiritual thoughts. And with the spiritual thoughts, again, thoughts of moving out of this world. Researched all kinds of ways to move out, but was not successful. Luckily, my wife supported me a lot in this. And of course, my parents also. Had tough time with my dad again those days, but somehow, slowly started mellowing down with him, realizing the kind of routine life as an engineer he would have led, because of which of his own frustration, he would have brought it back home or whatever. So after that, there was a time when I did some kind of affirmations and, said that, no, I have to get up. And I recharged myself, and in one go, I got 7 jobs. And then I had to select whether to go to, Kolkata, or whether to go to UP or Rajasthan or Gujarat. A lot of places I got a call. And then I somehow joined a school in Gorakhpur, Nepal border. And within a year, I got to know the chairman of that school was playing around with the lady teachers. And again, I don't know why I don't do research. Again, there's no point of doing research, because 16 jobs, I didn't get 16 jobs, and then suddenly I get 7 jobs, and I'm in that euphoria of having jobs. How do I select? And then I'm also looking for X amount of money. I was the 4th principal in 3 years. 3 lady principals were changed, and then they thought a man will be better for this organization. And they didn't know what kind of a man they are selecting. And I gave him a kick behind his ass. That's what I'm sorry to use this word, because he was playing around with the lady teacher. And of course, there are people to play around. That's why, such men play around. Cement business, petrol pump, car showrooms, and a lot of money. School was good, the big brand kind of a school. Again, the brand kind of a school also, people in Delhi come and visit. They are only interested in money, nothing else. I talk about, what about holistic education? What about educators, training of educators? No need. We have good admissions. That's a sign. 1 year there, mushkil se. Then moved to another school in Lucknow. Good. IITians were leading the school. I thought, yeah, this is the place. People who are IITians. But unfortunately, the Marwadis or Lalas, whatever you call it. Again, nothing against them, but just giving you a background. But IITians, 3 brothers IITians, 1 doctor, and one of their wives, an IIT and things like that. So things moved well, increased a lot of admissions for them because of my way of dealing with parents, and the school was going down, and increased it up. The moment I increased it, my importance was over. Educators who work for it, importance was over. Then the tussle started. But who are you? This is all because of our doing. This is all because of our money, because of which we have spent so much. So that's why this admission. Okay. Keep your job, keep your position, move on. But there, there was something, where I hit the nail with the hammer. We had, again, my education of Gandhi came into play, where Gandhi taught us the non-violent protest and things like that. So there was protest by educators, there was protest by the students, even in the school in Ahmedabad. where I felt like a politician, where I had resigned already because of the three directors, grouping in and trying to run the show and trying to pilfer certain things, and only thinking about they going to Dubai and enjoying the Dubai and France and whatnot with the money of the school. And when I questioned that, I had to move. And that is one place where, and that was a time when, there was a protest by, the Hardik Patel and the Patel movement and all those kind of people were happening, year 2015. And they joined in, again, a political thing happened where they joined in and protested along with us. And I was brought into the school like a leader. I felt like a big politician there, coming and talking about what is going wrong in the school. For 1 hour, I gave that. After that, I moved out because I'd already got, as a CEO of another school in, I told you about the school in in Kerala. So, and this place again in Lucknow, where the children protested. Again, children from the KG till the 12th came out. East or West, major is the best. That was the dialogue, and a lot of slogans written overnight. And some of them were instigated by the educators who after 20 years were getting 20,000 rupees and saying that, these are people who are traveling here and doing this thing and that thing and a lot of money and big pay packages. Some of them earning some, 5 lakhs kind of salaries as CEO, and poor teachers getting 20,000 rupees. All those things came out in the papers and everywhere. And a lot of democratic kind of things came out. Then got an opportunity. After this happened, there was also a writ petition we filed. Around 7-8 teachers, including me, writ petition in the High Court of Lucknow. And we won the case after around 3 years, where they got their dues. All of them got their dues. And it was very difficult. A lot of FIRs filed, and a lot of threatenings happened for me and my family, and a lot of things happened. That is the time I was called again to the, paradise on earth, from the God's own country, Kerala, to Gorakhpur, towards Nepal, visited Nepal, the beauty of Nepal, and then to paradise on earth, Kashmir, where I was called to set up a school. Again, big masala owners and road builders and things like that. No idea of education, but wanted to run the show. Did not know. Again, the franchisee owners are also people who are only wanting principal, and the person who wants to run the show as an educationist is just a puppet they want. So around 4-5 months there. Then again came to Gorakhpur, where I was leading as a principal of a school for 6 months. And that was the pandemic time. So struggling to get a job. But luckily, I changed 3 jobs. Again, all 4 months, 6 months, 3 months. Gorakhpur to Indore, Indore to Trichy. 3 jobs, all 4 months, 5 months, 6 months during pandemic. No one was getting jobs those days. So I was quite lucky. Then I thought, this is like 2 months, 6 months, 3 months, 4 months. Then there came a phase where I had to move from Trichy. Again, these kind of tussles happening. Somewhere it is about, I caught the owner of the school pilfering some money from the kitty, and and I questioned them, saying, this is hard-earned money of parents. Don't think it's your money. And you buying cars or something with that money is fine. But then you're answerable for that money if you have caused damage because of your wrong decisions. So each place has its own story. And then the trend came that in 1 month I jobbed 3 jobs as principals. Banaras, Patna, and Gaya. 3 places. Gaya was the maximum, where I went to set up a big school in both Gaya itself. Patna was a total fraud kind of a school, where there were dummy students, some 2,000 students in 12th standard. And most of them dummies studying in Kota or somewhere and all those kind of things. And I mean, they were drenched in money. Overnight, they gave me 1 lakh rupees, saying that you came from that school, take this 1 lakh. Your 15-day salary is given to you. And after 7 days, they said, this is your 1 lakh for the next 15 days, please, because we do not need an honest man. We want a man who can manage this. I said, I'm not a manager, I'm a leader. I can manage things, but not, something which is unethical. And everything happening there was unethical. Banaras was another thing. Some kind of big Thakurs kind of people were running the show, who in the Diwali, they would fire some rounds in the air trying to show. Whom are they trying to show? And then, those people were waiting in Diwali till 10 o'clock for this Malik to come. Malik, Aiye, and just that, not even good sweets. What is that called? Son papadi. That is the sweet which is given to them for waiting for the Malik. So I said, I am not here for this kind of, a school where you're exploiting people, not even basic minimum wages. And they are signing on basic minimum wage. Then come to a big organization in Bellary. A big production unit. Beautiful campus. I mean, you can say that paradise on earth kind of campus. And some 35,000 employees staying in that campus, different townships there. I was brought in to, my wife was already a principal there, leading a school. But big organizations, big politics, and things like that. 6 months was more than enough for me there. I was the educator. I had gone there to set up a kind of a teachers training institute for the 10 schools under their ban. But they did not want to train their own teachers. They said, develop a model by which you can train other teachers. I said, how can anyone have faith in your teachers training unless you first train your teachers with these modules? They did not want to do that. They wanted to make it a business, but wanting to train other teachers. So, and then now I'm in a kind of a organization which is for the underprivileged students for sports. They bring different students for football, for hockey, and for academy. But again, the story is the same. If I have to earn the money, I have to be in a job kind of thing. That is the time I joined, the fest, and and here I am today in front of me. So just some points, some places where, in my personal journey where I have, rebelled and where I have learned lessons. So over a period of these 18 changes, I've learned now to mellow down. A lot of, spiritual awakening has happened. But in the process, a lot of damage also happened because of my drinking and smoking and all those kind of things. But slowly, mellowed down, and I'm in a process of coming back now. But the search is still on to find something where it's not, of course, finding the right match where there is a decent kind of a remuneration, and the purpose is to have a leader with the experience who do the best with the kids there. The search is on. So I'm quite positive I'll get something like that. But along with that, of course, I would like to make myself self-sufficient by being in a kind of an environment where I can support myself and my family. And my sister recently lost her husband, so her family is also to be supported. So that's the stage I'm. Thank you very much for hearing. Hello.
Yeah, I'm audible.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Major, for your wonderful journey. It was full of, yes, I can't open my, yeah. It was a wonderful journey with lots of adventurous things and all. I would like the participants who are all listening to Dr. Major. So, share your realization. Yeah. Yes, anyone wants to go? Are you able to unmute yourself?
Aniket, yeah.
Yes.
You don't have to raise hands.
Yeah, if you raise, I'll.
Maybe you are moderating, that's why.
That's right.
Mudit.
Mudit, yeah. Unmute. Yes, Mudit.
Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you are audible, Mudit.
Yeah. So it was a great hard talk again, and I'm always inspired by army stuff. And it was a great roller coaster ride. A big salute to you. And I can't share realization on your story, but it inspires me, and it was well spoken. And you have seen a lot of stuff. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your experience.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mudit. Aniket?
Mohan is here. Mohan?
Yes. Aniket, you want to say something?
I think it's lost connection, Aniket.
Okay. Mohanji?
Yeah, hi. I'm audible now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was unable to actually unmute and comment also, chat also. That's why I was not able to speak. So
Okay.
it was a great inspiring story altogether. The experience you have shared after you have retired from like civil services, like from the serving your country. I thought after that, like I was having the perception like people after getting from like army or from any naval services or something similar to that might have a good retirement life and without any struggle and all those things. But you are still struggling. You are into good sector, into education sector, but the story you have shared of the education sector was completely unknown till now for me. I was also thinking like I do know my mom is also a teacher, and I know some of the realities of this education sector, but this big picture, how you are told some of your incidences was not known to me. So it is quite deep, and I was able to connect and learn a lot of things from you through this. So thank you for sharing, and a big salute to you. And I'm there for you whenever you need. You know this in any walk you want. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Rajesh sir, this is Mahesh.
Mahesh.
Rajesh sir, I am first of all very proud to be to associate with this kind of great people because your story is something it's a mixing of all the great things like army or civil services or teaching. Whatever your experiences, you are something great. I am a kid in front of you, really. Nice to be with you guys, and your story is very inspirable. So I am a learner. Definitely, I am taking so many things from your story. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Next, anybody can go.
Yes.
Mohan.
Mohanji. Coach, are you there?
I think I finished in 2 hours, no? 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. That was
Oh.
my aim, actually. Because going beyond, people would feel quite drowsy.
No. Sarita. Mohanji, are you able to unmute yourself? JP, yes.
Yeah. The problem with unmuting to all the people. I'm also trying since 5-10 minutes after. Can you unmute all the people?
Yeah, that will be better, I think.
Yeah, okay.
No, nobody has. No, we were raising the hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was.
We don't have any communication tool. I even tried a dozo. It is you are offline. Okay. Thing is, I have listened everything what Rajesh is told. One, there is the IAS officer in Haryana. He was transferred like 60 times in his journey. Though he is an IAS officer, he is the whole a DM of one district. You face uh, so much of colors, so much of music for him. We are very less in front of him. But you did very well, Major. You speak on to your principles. That's the part I like it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohan. Reshma ji, Reshma Ashik.
Rishma, are you able to unmute now?
Can I go next?
Text me. Yeah.
Speaking.
Okay.
Manoj is speaking, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Manoj.
So, Major Rajesh, we had a blockbuster super hit movie of you. Yeah. So, learned lots of things about you. Yeah, I had lots of query about your life and journey, and today I got many answers, and of course I got many there's many takeaway for me. So when I'd like to hear from you after all these comments that what you're feeling, how much you whatever you are carrying, and now you are feeling relieved or not. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I feel relieved. The more I speak about it, the more, fortunately, this is not my first heart talk, but, I have been in this kind of, from the army days, starting from when I took up the course called the, Masters in Peace Studies and Gandhian Thought. From that series of places I've been in, process labs called ISAPs and T labs. I don't know if you have heard of it. And then also upgraded myself with neuro-linguistic programming. So a lot of inner churning and inner healing has happened with the catharsis, which I received while, I got people who could listen. So just by, people listening to me, a lot of, healing has already taken place. And that is why, at some point of time, I would break down or, I would get angry on, how people are exploiting others, how people are exploiting poor educators. I would get totally agitated. But now, it's, I'm going in the flow. I said till 50, I fought. Now I'm 50. Now the next 10 years, I don't need to fight. I've already fought and maybe I've given my contribution. Let me build my home now. So that is the stage I'm in.
True, Major. Then Who wants to go? Yes, Reshma?
Yeah. Thank you, Reshmadi. Rajesh ji, it's very nice to hear your story journey. I am seeing myself whenever you are telling about the army life, all these things. Actually, me and my friend selected in army, but I am not able to join in that. But she joined there. She was now Captain Sneha, now working in posted in Ladakh. So whenever you are saying those things, I am representing myself. So I am feeling very happy that I'm not able to spend that life, but God, Dada gave me a person who spent that life to share all these things. So I'm feeling very good. And I'm resembling my father in you, like he also like you only. He won't compromise the principles, whatever he is following. So I am seeing everything, each and everything in you that's very inspirational. And I'm feeling very grateful to hear your story. That's what I am feeling. Thank you. Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, who wants to go now?
Okay,
Sarita,
this is JP.
yes, JP.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, direct salute to you, Major, direct from my heart. I have a very great respect towards the army, and whenever I see anyone like a person in uniform, I don't know why and how it happens, but I always feel a connect with it. And anything I would say will be very, just to add on, or I can't appreciate you because you guys are phenomenal, right? And I understand how you have managed and how you survived all those struggles that you mentioned. And so there is a quote like, आर्मी से आप जवान को तो निकाल सकते हो, लेकिन जवान के अंदर से आर्मी नहीं निकाल सकते. So, and that spirit, that you have showed that spirit, right? Whether you are inside army or you are outside of army, yeah, you are a fighter.
And for the Major, Dada has sent a message. Dada is in another Zoom, but he heard all the entire story, Ranchi boy, to the Major.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm listening to Major also, but I'm just trying to shuffle between my phone and the other devices. Major, I think it's an awesome stuff. I resonate with you, the school life, and I like your decision of having 60 ladies and you are the only Kanaya there. I like your flamboyant lifestyle and the other side of being a rebel also. I see, all the qualities that is required for you, that you're rightly called as a major. Great, awesome, nice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you have nailed many things which is exist in society, and there is no very less people who really do care for such kind of issues, right? Like you mentioned, the money minting, thing in schools. Yeah, that's a very true reality and very harsh reality. Yeah, and then also you mentioned like many of the educators didn't travel beyond their district, and that's also a very harsh reality. Because if I just try to mention their side of the story, they just take it like they are not educators from heart. They are just doing their job. They're kind of naukri mil gayi bas, that's it. So that's also true. That's one aspect also. And one sentence that you quoted really touched me, that like a dynamic person like you was lying like a log. That's a very deep statement, Major, I would say. But again, I salute to you that you fought with the situation, fought with yourself, and you like come out as a winner or a
Thank you, JP.
yeah, come out as a warrior. So that was great. It's a really inspiring story. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jayaprakash.
Yes, Sarita, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, I was traveling, so I couldn't pick it up.
Sarita.
Yes. Hi, Vishal. I joined a little late when you started your journey as an educator, but I find it. I'm sorry for being late. As
No
an
issue.
educator, I find that because journey was not that easy because you follow your ethics, because you're truthful to yourself and you're trying to bring it in other people. See, what I, even though I feel in outside, when people trying to something do different out of the league, people don't like it. And this is a truth reality.
Sure.
Okay. And but you are the one person because I respect army people a lot. Since my childhood, I love them. Because their life, I very fond of them. Because their life is too difficult, which we can't imagine. So to listen to you is an honor to me. Because your life I have never seen, but I can listen to you, I can feel it. And this is the honor which I got today. And this is the one word for you. You are really awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sarita. Mudit has told his realization, isn't it? Yeah, anyone wants to go? Coach, are you there? Okay. Yes, Major, how are you feeling after having this hard talk?
I would say
How do you feel? Yeah.
I would say tiger zinda hai.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome, nice.
That's all. I mean, there was a time when I could go on and on, but then it's a similar pattern where I'm seeing things. So, but now I don't want to waste time in that kind of a pattern. Maybe my contribution is done. Now I want to contribute towards my family and settle down and things like that. That's the thing. But you never know. The roller coaster may go on. You never know. My dad is around 85 years old. So I'm just 50 now. So maybe, I may also live 40 more years. So what will I do 40 more years? I don't know.
Yeah, Major, this is the other year. So you can contact me. I'll tell you what to do.
Yeah, surely. I'm already in contact with you.
Awesome, nice. So how are you feeling, Major?
Yeah, great.
Good. After a long time, probably you have spoken from your heart. I can see.
Sure. Yeah.
So tomorrow morning will be a different morning for you.
Sure.
Awesome, nice. All right. So Rishma, over to you. Who is the next person going next month? I mean, next week. And
next week it will be Satyananda.
All right.
Yeah.
So with that, probably let me just pause the live stream which is happening, and the people who are watching these videos from different places, you'll be able to see it inside the Facebook Mastery group. If you have missed out, you can actually take things, and then we can look into the other side of it also. So with that, let me pause the recording here, and great having everyone who are in this journey and helping people to listen.